Hi everyone, I'm Anthony DeMauro, and welcome to another edition of SportsRantz University. Today, I'm going to be discussing how to turn your Twitter followers and your Facebook fan page fans into readers of your blog. Now, most of you get the concept of how these social networking sites like Twitter and Facebook work, how we interact with one another, and basically how to share our stuff on there, as we've talked about in previous editions in SportsRantz University. But a lot of brands, a lot of businesses, a lot of websites, and a lot of bloggers are under the impression that just because you have a presence on these social media sites or social networking sites automatically means that people are going to read your stuff. And they're sorely mistaken. You see, social media has become a booming outlet, and with that, the evolution of how we receive our information and how we share our information has changed and constantly evolves minute to minute of every passing day. Well, with that being said, we as bloggers, journalists, and radio hosts, and media personalities need to remember that we have to keep evolving as well. It's not only a luxury to have such a powerful marketing tool such as Twitter or Facebook at our disposal, but we also have to give it justice and become smart at it as well. It becomes a part-time job. And the really good social media people are the ones that have their blogs read by thousands of people daily. Now, we all want to be that successful. So you guys got to remember, it's patience and consistency are the key elements in success in social media with Twitter and Facebook. Meaning, if you repeat the same thing over and over again, and you're good about doing it, well, by definition, that's insanity. But in the social media world, it can certainly help. So remember that your fans, while we're obsessed with numbers, and we're obsessed with number of followers, numbers of fans, hey, it's how we gauge our success, right? How we build our audience. Well, you also have to remember that these are not just numbers, these are people. So interacting with your crowd, with your audience, goes well beyond just posting a link to your blog and asking questions. Now, I know we touched on this in other videos in SportsRantz University, but we have to remember we gotta dig deeper. Success isn't an easy path. You have to work diligently and hard. So you gotta work hard in all outlets of it. Just because you're a fantastic writer, you come up with great content, or you give great interviews, doesn't mean that people are right off the rip going to recognize that. You have to show them. And you have to think about the door-to-door salesman, car salesman mentality. These people come up and they fast sell you. So what's one of the biggest jokes people make? Somebody, they hate the car salesman approach. Now think about this. When you're shopping for a house, your realtor gets to know you. 9 out of 10 times, you don't really put the car salesman and the realtor in the same category. That's because it's the realtor's job to get to know you, just like a wedding planner. Very intricate industries that really thrive on personal relationships between client and company. So remember to do the same in your blog. Develop relationships. Get to know some of your fans and followers. And I know that's a daunting task, but remember, if you remember, Johnny C29 on Twitter is a Yankees fan. Well, guess what? You're going to try to ask him what he thinks about your latest blog post about the New York Yankees season. Kind of makes sense. And yes, it's a due diligent process. And no, I know a lot of you are asking right now, well, if I do that for just one follower, well, then I'm ignoring the rest of my followers. Yes, but you don't have to always do that. Look at the followers we're talking about the Yankees. Also, look at what's trending. Look at hashtags. Hashtags are a beautiful thing. Look at the people who have just tweeted using that hashtag. Interact with them. Reply to them. Start conversations. Remember, a sale, when you're posting your blog post or sharing it on social media, it's like selling something. It literally is. You're selling people in the belief that you are writing something that they're going to be interested in. So lure them in. Get to know them. And no tricky little sneaky maneuvers. Just interact with them. What do you think about this? The Yankees post. And once you develop a rapport, they're going to be looking for your tweets. Now, we're going to talk about Twitter specifically. Remember, a lot of people on Twitter use it the wrong way. I mean, let me tell you something. Team follow back is a great thing, but for building followers, and I'm not knocking hashtags team follow back or follow back, but These people aren't, 9 out of 10 times, aren't going to read their timeline. They're just looking for sheer numbers of followers. Keep this in mind. You want people that are interested in the topic that you're talking about. A lot of these people who go after mass followers, they tell me anyway, of what I'm looking at Twitter through my eyes, I see them as people who aren't going to really pay attention, or might not pay attention as much as I might of what's in my timeline, because we don't follow as many people as who are following us. Keep that in mind. Building your audience is great. Following people back is awesome. But remember, be careful, be selective who you follow. Now, I know we want to have our follower numbers be higher than who we're following, and that's great in theory, but also keep in mind, if you guys erase numbers from your head, then everybody is people. Only follow the people who are tweeting. If you're writing a sports blog, tweet people or follow people who are tweeting majority of the time sports. Those are the people in their timeline that are going to be more apt to read sports articles. If someone has hashtags of Yankees, of Lakers, or something like that, something sports related, I love sports, something like that, I'm a sports blogger. Well, guess what? Follow these people, and your timeline is going to fill up with not only good information, but stuff you can retweet. This is what gets people's attentions too. Remember, people love attention. We love attention. So a spotlight on them isn't a bad thing to get them to look at who you are. Every time I get retweeted, I look at who retweeted me. And then I look at who's following them. I look at what they do. If they have a blog or a website, 9 out of 10 times, I usually check that out. I can almost assure you I'm not the only one who does that. How many times do you do that? I guarantee you, if you think about it, you do check out who retweets you. You want to see who found your stuff that interesting. Facebook fan pages are an interesting thing. Everybody has a fan page nowadays, just like everybody has a Twitter thing. So a lot of people have this inner battle. And no, I'm not telling you to choose, but I get this question a lot. If I have a Twitter page and I have a Facebook fan page, how do I keep up with both? Well, that's a job within itself, but there's many sites that can combine all of your social posts on them. I'll try to post them later on in a future article in SportsRantz University. But for now, remember, your Facebook fans are oversaturated with stuff in their timeline. Unlike Twitter, they can control what shows up in their timeline essentially. Facebook has this only capacity. If you're friends with somebody, you can erase them from their timeline. Not on Twitter. Who you follow is who's in your timeline. So remember that. You got to be extra creative on Facebook. Interact with all the people who liked your comments. Interact with anybody who commented. Do polls. Facebook has got a lot of interactive tools to make your fan page really cool. So remember to keep that in mind. Facebook has a little bit more diversity with working with Twitter than working with Twitter pages, but fan pages are kind of on the downward trend, while groups are on the upward trend. And remember, if you're part of groups on Facebook, share article links. Now, I'm a group admin, and I know some of you out there could be a admin of a group on Facebook, and one of the things that really annoys me is people will just come in and drop links, never participate in discussions, and sometimes, we're guilty of that too. But I try to shout out everybody on my radio show that allows me to share links. I thank them. So that's my way of promoting back. Remember to do the same thing. Don't just go into a group and post a link to an article of your blog. First of all, they're not. If you annoy somebody, they're never going to look at your blog post. Keep that in mind. And while you can't keep everybody happy, conversation is best. Before you go, if you just got added to a group, remember, go on in there. Go on in there before you start posting your blog post. Let them know who you are, what teams you follow, what they can expect from you, what you do. Tell them you have a blog, but don't post a blog link immediately. Wait till you get a really good article. Wait till a couple people have seen you do a couple intelligent posts in Facebook groups, and then start dropping your links. But also, keep up the discussion. It's a two-way street. Just because you had 5 or 6 conversations in a group doesn't mean you can go on a link dropping spree and that's all you can do. No, you have to keep up these things. Now, I know a lot of you are probably asking, well, how do I decide which groups are best to do this with? Obviously, you can't keep up on 10, 15 groups with conversations with hundreds of people just for the sake of dropping some links. No, pick the big boys. Anybody over 2,000 members, 3,000 members probably is good for you. Even over 1,000 members if it's specific. If you have a Yankees blog, and I know I keep referencing the Yankees, but I'm a Yankees fan, so if you have a Yankees blog, join a Yankees group. Very simple. Now keep in mind, before you go mass joining groups, look at the activity of the page. Is it active? Are there people still interacting on that? What are they talking about? If the conversation in the group is just a bunch of link dropping, you're not going to want to do that. You want a group that's interactive, has polls set up, they have rules. You want smack talk groups are great, but that's not the type of audience that's going to be really conducive to intelligent reading. I mean, they're gonna bash your things, and I love all sports fans, but some of these like really hardcore trash talk groups, they can be pretty brutal. So, you know, some of us love that stuff. I like reading it, and I like hearing the opinions of all sports fans, although I don't necessarily agree with some of their points of views a lot of the times. Smack talk groups, just proceed with caution with those groups, because they're people that the nature of the group is to talk a lot of crap and be very vulgar. So just keep that in mind. Know your environment. Get to learn the environment you're posting in, and keep that in mind. So now I'm gonna show you guys a couple of tips on how to look for hashtags, how to find some things on Facebook, find some of these groups. So let's get to that. Alright guys, so let's start off on Twitter. Now our profile, we've done a good job of expanding our audience. We have over 94,000 followers. Now, at the time of this article, we have over 94,000 followers. Anyway, get to know your followers, and this is what I like to do. I like to see who's following me. So I'm gonna look at who's following me. Okay, so I know this guy's a Yankees fan. I know there's Mavericks fans. So I'm getting used to. I'm getting to know what the people who follow me like to talk about. I see I see Pigs fan, I see Yankees fans, Jets fans. All right, so I know generally I'm talking to football and baseball fans. So it doesn't hurt to look at your followers, and it shouldn't really control what you write about. So I'm not using that example, but I'm just trying to give you guys an example of getting to know who you're talking to. Now, if you have a bunch of people trying to follow you who have no interest in what you're talking about, it's probably not a good idea to follow them back. All right. Now, what I mean by hashtags, let's say you're writing an article about the Dallas Cowboys, and I noticed this guy right here has the hashtag Dallas Cowboys. So, if a game is going on and I'm get ready to do a game review of the Cowboys' latest game, usually on game day, I like to see what people are talking about. If I see something interesting, this guy's saying something interesting, I'm going to retweet it. Once I retweet that, he's going to automatically look at my profile and look at my page. Alright, so now his attention's on me and hopefully he follows me. And I will continue to do that. Now, just don't go around retweeting everybody who has something to say about the Cowboys. Try to retweet people who say something different, who make a joke, who make a crack. Try to do this as much as possible and look at the people you're retweeting. For instance, Fox Jaw Madden, he only follows 136 people, yet he's got 116,000 followers. Well, guess what? I'm not retweeting any of his stuff because A, he's not going to read it, and B, he's not going to retweet it. So that to me is a pointless retweet. Alright, so this one, Real Felix Jones, he's a player. Retweet him if you want to. Chances are he's not looking at your stuff either. So remember, guys, as much as you want the celebrity or the athlete to look at your blog, it's probably not going to happen. So focus on other fans just like you. Now, if somebody says something interesting, like this guy talking about the 55-year-old woman who is trying out for the Cowboys. Now, he's saying she's hot. Not only could this be a retweet, but this could be a reply. So reply to him saying, yeah, she definitely is. Or, no, she's not. It engages the conversation. And then later on, when you do this for, throughout the game or something like that, and later on when you post your article, you might ask these guys, hey, what do you think of this? Or they might see it right off the rip because they're used to conversing with you. And that's how that works. Now, that's just one way to do it as well. Also, keep in mind to check out what's trending. Obviously, SmackDown right now, Justin Verlander, Doc Rivers, engage in these conversations. Because we're not the only ones who are going to be checking hashtags. So remember that as you move on. So I'm going to look at SmackDown. Now, I watch wrestling. So, hey, look at this. Everybody is hashtagging SmackDown, talking about it. If I'm watching it, I can engage in this conversation as well. So remember, it's easy. The three things we just displayed: getting to know who your audience is, recognizing hashtags, and now looking at trends. Now, these are all things to give you gateways to participating in conversations and getting to know an audience. And those factors will help you build readers to your blog. Now, the fan page is a little more interesting. Now, let me just throw this out there, guys. If you have a Twitter page and you want a fan page, but you don't want to start from square one, or you have a fan page and you want to get on Twitter and you don't want to start from square one, you have, good number of followers or a good number of fans, and you're going to be starting from scratch. Well, here's a beautiful thing Facebook and Twitter do. They like to play nice with each other. So remember, guys, you can sync your Facebook fan page with your Twitter page. So when you post on your fan page, it'll tweet. But remember to treat it the same way. Use hashtags, stuff like that. Our fan page is not as halfway as interactive as our Twitter page. I'm not necessarily the hugest fan of Facebook fan pages. They are good, and some people who use them really well do them really well. But chances are one's going to be more successful than the other. It's going to be either your Twitter page is really interactive or your Facebook fan page should be interactive. Now, that's not to suggest that they both can't be successful or interactive, but I'm just saying that off the rip, there's going to be one of them that's going to draw your attention. Try not falling into that pit hole. Treat them both equally, because you never know who's reading your stuff on either. Just because somebody might not be interacting on one of our posts on Facebook does not mean that somebody isn't reading our articles. I mean, we got close to 5,000 fans. Just because all 5,000 of them aren't commenting doesn't mean they're looking at your stuff. Some people do it from a mobile device and don't want to take the time to type in a comment, and they just want to read articles. So keep that in mind. Alright, guys, now groups is another thing. Remember, check out groups, go in there, be casual about it, and do not spam people, because remember, when people are looking at your blog, and if they're already annoyed, they're going to associate it as spam, and nobody's going to click your stuff. So be tasteful with it, and always think, if it's something that would annoy you, chances are don't do it. And one last place, your SportsRantz page. Well, they got tons of options here. You can add photos, videos, and links. It's actually pretty good. You can actually, some of us who have privileges right now, not all of us do, can tweet it, but this is a great thing when you share your article on SportsRantz.com. Now, let's say we'll stick with my Yankees example. I wrote a Yankees blog post. I'm also a member of the New York Yankees group. Really cool thing on SportsRantz is you can post in here and say, hey, check out my article. On CC Sabathia. And then I'll use a hashtag Yankees. And then since I'm a member of the Yankees group, I'm going to click that, and I'm going to post my update. Now, I'm not going to post it because I haven't written an actual article on CC Sabathia, but when I hit post update, it's not only going to go on the Rantivity stream, it's going to go in the New York Yankees group too. Some of you would be like, there's team groups? There is team groups, people, and there's forums. These are something we're going to be working on building up, but these are great examples of how to get people to follow you and really target your audience. You have a Yankees blog and you want to get in front of Yankees fans? Search for the Yankees group on SportsRantz. Go on over there. And the cool thing about our groups is there are some members and we get our forums pretty active, but if somebody has a topic in the forum, so let's say this is the Yankees Rantivity screen, and look at this. Every time you hashtag the Yankees, it shows up in the group. Isn't that interesting? So another thing is each group has a forum. Beautiful thing about our forums is somebody, so let's talk about today. A-Rod sits out Friday, good to go today. I can follow that topic. And this is cool. If you got a really interesting post where you're asking for people's opinions, ask them to follow it, and they will get updates for every response people have in there. It's kind of like making a comment on Facebook. The only thing is they're going to be talking about your article. So keep that in mind, and remember, people, no matter what, share your articles. All right, that is going to wrap up this edition of SportsRantz University. We'll check out, and down the line I'll get more in depth with how to do this whole social media, social networking thing, and it's a powerful tool if you guys use it correctly. But remember, do it in good taste. People get annoyed very easily in their attention spans. I know people are going to hate to hear this, but we have very, very short attention spans. So remember, capture somebody's attention with a good article and writing, and build your audience in a tasteful, careful, precise way, and you know what? You're going to have success. And remember, as always, SportsRantz University, you guys can check out all the latest stuff, past classes we had on here, class videos. You can go to our YouTube channel and check out other videos we had, other pages like more specific on the certain features and abilities of the website, sportsrantz.com. And remember, guys, also, you really want to delve deep into this, I invite you to come on over to my company website, Elite Rank Marketing SEO. If you guys don't know what SEO, search engine optimization, social media, and why any of this is important, this website is so chopped full of information, it's silly. So you're going to get a crash course in all of this information. Of course, if you're a website, you can always hire us or me as well, and you can even look at the type of things we do, localized SEO, link building, social media optimization. We can even show you how to, if you guys want to just learn more SEO stuff and see some of the work we've done or some of our blog posts, you can check that out, what clients have said to us in our testimonials. Most of all, you can get some background information on me and see why I think I know a pretty great deal about social media and SEO, and you can see my background and all the accomplishments and websites I worked with. So, alright guys, that's it for this edition. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you at the next class.